Bears podcast with Brad, Jim, and Will. What have they been watching lately? They're husky, hairy, huggable homos. Movie Bears podcast.
Hello all and welcome to episode 543 of the Movie Bears podcast. I am Bradley Harris, and along with some of my fellow husky, hairy, huggable homos, the original 4 H's of queer podcasting, we bring movie reviews for films either current or classic to you on the show, of course, with a queer bear twist. But this week is a little bit different, sort of like last week. We aren't bringing one review to you. We're bringing a whole bunch of little mini kind of reviews. We are doing the second part of our top 10 films of 2025 episode. First episode we did last week, we were like, man, hour and a half? Yeah, we can get through 10 movies. Wah, wah. Nope, not even close. Not even close. We got about halfway through that list and we're like, shit, we have 5 more movies and honorable mentions and listener lists. There's no way we're going to be able to do this in an hour and a half. Plus, we're having some technical difficulties. So we were like, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna make this a 2-parter. It's very rare that we do that. So welcome. I see a few of you are hanging out with us online already. Hello. Be sure to say hi in the live chat. And if you have your top 5 films of 2025, because that's what we'll be sharing, feel free to drop those into the chat. We'll read some of those out. If you're like, I only have one favorite film, not 5, that's fine too. Go ahead and drop those in, and we may find some places to kind of sprinkle those around. But before we can get into any of the fun, let me reintroduce you to my co-host. They're the same handsome mugs you saw on part 1 of our top 10 films of 2025. Jim Pugliafico is with us in the virtual studio, but it's actually in a physical studio because we're all 3 actually at our house, but we're not recording around a table because we don't have the equipment yet. So we're in different rooms, but we're trying to solve for the technical issues we had last time. And Jim, you're in our bedroom, which is, I mean, normal for me to see, but maybe not so much on the podcast. No. How are you?
A few others maybe have seen it, but yeah. Yes, like usually I'm recording. First of all, hello. Glad to be here. Very excited to finish off our top 10 this week on this episode. So we're covering our 5 through 1s. But yeah, normally I would be coming to you like from my office or maybe the kitchen table recently because we recently moved. But this week I am in the bedroom. So this is the lurid digs version of the Movie Bears podcast, since I'm coming from my bedroom. But yeah, it's gonna work out. We're slowly, like incrementally inching toward us doing a podcast all together, like in the same room, around the same camera, microphones, whatever. We're getting there. I think right now as Brad said, we're trying to get some more equipment and make that happen. But hopefully by the time the next film festival rolls around, we'll be at that point.
Fingers crossed. Maybe even sooner than that. Who knows? Mm-hmm. We just need to pull the trigger on some Amazon purchases and get those here and set up and make a live recording happen. That could even be fun as like we're pulling up our spreadsheets and shit, getting ready for South by Southwest Film coming up in mid-March. That's so crazy. But we got notice very recently that we were accepted as press again for South by. So we're super stoked to attend that. Yeah. Watch all the movies and let you know what we think was good at the festival and what you may want to check out. But we'll put a pin in that for a few weeks until that comes up. Let me introduce you to the redoubtable William Lindis, who is here coming from our kitchen, which is where Jim normally sits, which is why there's a giant cock up on Will's shoulder. It's actually a rooster painting in our kitchen. Get your minds out of the gutter. For those of you who thought it was something else, William Lindis how are you and how's our kitchen?
I'm great. Your kitchen is very hospitable and inviting, as are the two of you. So thank you so much. This is fun. I think this is, aside from when we've recorded like with our handsets outside of a festival, or the few times I've tried to record from like a hotel room while on the road, this is kind of the first time I've done sort of like a remote setup. Normally, if we're doing a remote setup like this, it's y'all recording from my kitchen. So this is a fun little switcheroo. I'm really enjoying
Right?
it. Looking forward to when we can do whatever our actual kind of roundtable or setup is going to look like. That's going to be really cool. But I'm also really excited for tonight because, as we talked about in the first half of this episode, this is our chance to really celebrate film, our chance to just gush about the things that we love so much and that really lit up our lives at the movie theaters or on home rental or whatever this last year. And that was only with the 10 through 6 picks. So with us going through our 5 through 1s this time, oh my goodness, like, this is an extra level of excitement over these films. So just all around buzzing. So glad to be over here. So glad to be recording this one with y'all tonight.
Well, it's great to have you over here. I know since we moved, you've been over here once or twice maybe before, and we've obviously been to your house a bunch, but you haven't been here. Hopefully, we're gonna be doing not hopefully, but for sure, we're gonna be doing more of that as we get set up to do the round table. We have to figure out where's the best place to do it.
Well, it's funny because like we met you and Scott at the comic shop the other night. Then we all went back to your place for Doggo / board game / order in pizza night. And now just a couple days later, like you're here and hanging out. And this is one of the main benefits outside of like moving to Austin for work for me. It's just Will being near you and Scott and the dogs and other friends, that we know and love here in the Austin area. So it's nice to be able to do this for sure.
Absolutely. Like, and it's no longer like when we would hang out before, it was because usually a festival or a travel event or something like that. So it was an occasion. And now I like that it's, when we get a chance to get together, it can be much more casual. It doesn't have to be like we have to squeeze every minute. It's like, hey, let's hang out for a couple of hours for dinner and board game. Great.
Exactly.
Right. See y'all later. Like, so just again, over the moon. So glad y'all are here. And I'm so glad that I'm here and visiting y'all. So cool.
Us too. All right. Well, as we mentioned at the top, we are going to be doing the second part of our top 10 films of 2025. We have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 left on our list to share with you, as well as some honorable mentions. We also put out a call for listeners to share their lists with us. We have a few of those to share with you. And a bunch of people jumping on the live stream, even since we started to record. Hello, welcome. Feel free to drop some of your top films of 2025 in the chat. And we'll be happy to share some of those with the wider audience. But all of that said, Jim, Will, are y'all ready to get back into our top 10 lists?
Absolutely. Begin the fanfare.
There are some pretty fun popcorn buckets within walking distance from me. So let's dive in.
There you go. All right, cool. Well, in that case, this is the part where I set up the name of the segment so Jim can do a fun little audio drop-in of some trumpet fanfare. Here we go. The second part of our top 10 films of 2025. All right, Will, go ahead and kick us off. What was your number 5 film for 2025?
Yeah, so my number 5 film is one that I anticipate seeing on a lot of people's lists overall. I think that it is the film that I think is probably the most Not with everyone, and that's okay, not with everyone, but I would say with the most people that are putting together their top 10s lists, I think this one is sort of squeaking in there in a lot of places, right? And it's the film One Battle After Another, the new Paul Thomas Anderson film starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Teyana Taylor earlier this year. This movie is just a lot of everything in the right ways. The film itself is sort of like like it's a action movie. There's some dark comedy built in. There's some crime drama. All of this based around this character, Leonardo DiCaprio's character. 16 years after being like a revolutionary, and his wife sort of disappearing after all of that, he's left raising their daughter and has sort of gotten out of the game. But now new events have conspired. Old enemies are coming back, and he's got to get back into the game, even if he doesn't quite remember how, to help rescue his daughter. This is just a fun movie. I mean, there are some elements that like very clearly speak to sort of, what it means to be sort of like an activist, both today and previously, and kind of bridging the gap between those two things, why those things can be important. It's got some powerhouse performances, but it's also just funny. Like, there are some elements in this that really click and really work. Leonardo is of course great, but the person that really jumped out for me the most is of course it's a very weird role, but Sean Penn is in this as this sort of stiff colonel who's the one that's kind of coming after them, and he's definitely sort of representative of like, the how much we ascribe for power and authoritarian governments. But I also just love that he's got his own foibles in and of themselves that sort of poke holes in just how blustery he can be. This is a fun movie. It's a great movie. It's an incredibly well shot movie. It's an incredibly well directed movie. It sort of scratches all of the different boxes, checks all the marks on the box that you would want, right? This movie does everything that it needs to do. I loved One Battle After Another, and I'm actually pretty excited that this year, I think in other years, this could be a #1 film for me. And the fact that it isn't means that the 4 that are coming up really, really have me excited.
Awesome pick, Will. I'm going to bank a little bit of time on this one, but I do want to say it's a great film. It's a lot of it's like tour de force filmmaking. It's just at every turn you can see the quality that goes into it. It's got one of my best male performances of the year in Sean Penn. Just a crazy performance. And I know Sean Penn sometimes is a little bit mileage varies with him and his performances, but here I just think it's a perfect performance for him. It's a character you kind of love to hate, and it works well in this film. So great pick.
All right. Well, it sounds like you might have some other thoughts to share a little bit later. Who knows? Maybe. Just a reminder for us, we're 15 minutes in already, and we're only through our first one. So we'll maybe be a little briefer with the setups as we kind of move through the lists. Got so many movies. I'm wondering how many overlaps we actually have this year compared to last, because I know in the first episode didn't really seem like a lot yet, but we'll see what happens. But Jim, what is your #5 pick?
My #5 pick is a film called 28 Years Later, right? This is the kind of the sequel to a series of films that started with 28 Days Later, way back in, God, I don't even know what year it was, but it was a while ago. And Danny Boyle is a director. You got 2 great filmmakers here. Danny Boyle is a director, and the writer is Alex Garland. Alex Garland, who gave us Civil War, Ex Machina. So right off the bat, the pedigree is here for this film. Recently, the sequel to this film, 28 Years Later, what is it? The Bone Yard? What is it?
The Bone Temple.
The Bone Temple.
Bone Temple came out, and we saw that too. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's going to make my list for next year, but we'll see. But this film I really loved. I loved the setup for this. So creepy. You know, the tension here is great. I don't typically like just, you know, zombie movies, straight up zombie movies. This one had a lot more to offer than just that, and I liked it for it. So yeah, 28 years later, my number 5.
All
You
right.
know, 28 years later, didn't make my list. Came pretty darn close though, for all of the reasons that you mentioned. But there is a very real world where I saw the Bone Temple last night, and it picks up on, and I think even like takes to the next level some of the great things from this one. So there's a very real chance that the Bone Temple is going to be on your list as well at this time next year,
Possibly.
because it's already sort of like leading the pack for me.
Maybe. Maybe. We'll have to see. Hey, Sammy W is in the live chat with us.
Sammy.
He says, good pick. Sam, good to see you. Welcome. And yeah, Jim, I saw this one as well. Obviously, didn't make my list. Really enjoyed it, though. I I think I have to give the sequel like a superlative award for like best use of a song so far this year in a
Needle
movie.
drop, yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
But 28 years later did so much of the setup for Bone Temple. Really, really solid choice. Glad to see this ended up on your list. All right, my number 5 is a film starring Tom Hiddleston. It came out in 2024, but I didn't get to see it till July of 2025. Somehow, that's when it came to theaters for us. That's where I saw it. And this film is called The Life of Chuck, which is based on a Stephen King novella. The IMDb description, and I'll leave it at that because I don't want to spoil anything, is from childhood to adulthood, Charles Chuck Krantz experiences the wonder of love, the heartbreak of loss, and the multitudes contained in all of us. This was a great performance by Tom Hiddleston, really just emotionally moving, touching. This film does some cool things with how it sort of bounces around in time and non-linearity. It presents some big questions about the universe and this word multitudes. All of us are not just one thing. We're millions of things put together into one unique thing. And I really like the way that this film kind of commented on that. So this was a great one for me. It wasn't one I was expecting to be bowled over by. The fact that I was like ugly sobbing at the end. And I'm like, please don't let the lights come up yet. Please don't let the lights come up yet. I'm not done crying. People will see me cry. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck that. Let them see me cry. Men cry. That's a thing. I really just appreciated this film a lot. That's The Life of Chuck.
You know, Brad, I think you can feel okay in terms of like, you know, is it a 2024? Is it a 2025 film? It only played at TIFF in 2024, but it did not get seen in any theater outside of TIFF in the US until June of 2025. So this is very easily a 2025 film.
Good.
It was close to making my list as well. It was a front runner through most of the year. And then just towards the end, like as you're starting to kind of reshuffle and everything, you know, it kind of slipped off, but that's nothing against the film. It does have 2 of the best dance sequences I've seen in movies, definitely of this last year. And, you know, you know, maybe kind of like going back even further. So great choice.
Yeah.
Rock on.
Awesome choice, babe. And I think, unfortunately, that maybe our lists and our list of favorites by the end of the year, maybe some recency bias does slip in. I guess if I were to admit it, it might be the case. I remember really liking this film, The Life of Chuck, and had I seen it later in the year, it could be, you know, it could have been on my list instead of like honorable mention. So yeah, that's a really good one, babe.
You're saying it could have been a contender.
Could have been a contender.
Could have been a contender.
All right. Well, that wraps up our number 5s. But Will, I think you have some other number 5s to share.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to share a listener list from Joseph Bridges, who we know from a group of wonderful film friends that we know called this is the Cinematics group. It's where also Hamstracked and Bruce and some of our other friends kind of come from as well. So he shared with us some of his top 10, and his is in no particular order. His top 10 list includes Wake Up Dead Man, the new Knives Out movie, Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere, One Battle After Another, The Perfect Neighbor, Weapons, Twinless, The Yogurt Shop Murders, which I recently watched. There's a lot of very, very interesting sort of like doc series as well. Sister Midnight, Train Dreams, and Adolescence. Great picks across the board there, including a couple of like sort of long form, sort of like television, but they're kind of like feel like they're complete stories. So I see how they kind of get pulled in here. Yeah, just great picks, Joe.
Yeah, definitely good to see Weapons show up again here. Again, that Naruto run in a horror movie. I never thought I would see that, but it's perfect. It's so good. This is a great list, Joseph. Thanks for sharing.
And Train Dreams gets some love too. You know, a slower film. Joel Edgerton is great. It's a wonderful story about, you know, spanning a lifetime. And the Yogurt Shop Murder is very local, right? This is local flavor. This tragedy murders happened in Austin, right up the street, I think, from us. And pretty sobering stuff. Great documentary that I did see.
For sure. Well, since we're between rounds, we've got a few folks in the chat who are chatting and saying hello. Jordan Riley says, "Hey boys." Hey Jordan Riley.
Hey Jordan.
Good to
Hey
see
Jordan.
you. Jordan's been hanging around the show for like a decade now at this point. Jordan, it's been far too long since we've seen you, but just congratulations to y'all for the upcoming nuptials. Really excited for y'all. That's amazing.
That's awesome.
And William Durr is with us. The amazing D Geek Will on YouTube. Be sure to check out his show for some very entertaining reviews and commentaries. He says, "Hey boys," as well. Will, so good to see you. Welcome. And yes, Jordan says Weapons was good, as was The Long Walk. Speaking of Stephen King, another film, 2025. Kind of a brutal film, but yeah, Jordan for sure, definitely a good one. And so
Good
I'm gonna play operator. So Jordan is connecting from Facebook, and Sammy W is connecting from YouTube. I don't know if they can see each other's comments, but Jordan, Sammy W says hi, Jordan. Just FYI, in case you can't see it. I bring people together. That's what I do. I help people.
That's our show
together.
is basically, you know, let's everyone's chocolate and peanut butter merge into something that's even better than the sum of its parts.
Jesus, I have chocolate ice cream and peanut butter ice cream in the freezer, and I think I'm going to mix them both later. Thank you, Will. Appreciate the
You're
idea.
welcome.
While I rate things on Letterboxd, which is also your idea. It'll be a William Lindis idea night. All right, we have so many more movies. Let's dive into our number 4s. Will, what was your number 4 of 2025?
All right. My number 4 is one of my big cries of this year, and that was the movie Hamnet. Hamnet was directed by Chloe Zhao, starring Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal. Jessie Buckley is probably winning an Oscar for this film. She's sort of like in that front runner spot for it. And it basically is the story of William Shakespeare and his wife, and they are dealing with the loss of a child and kind of what that means to them, kind of the grief that they have to experience and the way that they sort of have to compartmentalize it in different ways. Chloe Zhao is one of those directors who I think at this point, she just, you know, she makes it, I watch it. She's just very good at sort of building kind of beauty onto screen. Performances are solid. And I think most importantly, I love this whole theme of processing grief through our different means of doing it. That's something that we've talked about on the show before, you know, the different ways that we deal with difficult things and how film and art and our own subjective experiences can all help us do that in different ways. And Hamnet really captures that so well. Some people might be turned off because it's a period piece, but this is not a stuffy film. This doesn't feel like, you know, sometimes period pieces can feel like homework. This doesn't feel like homework. This is just an emotional experience that I think is very resonant and very powerful all the way through. So Hamnet is my number 4 choice.
Yeah, well,
Will.
great one. I'm banking time, and I'll gush about this one later.
All right. I was just going to say, I just saw it. It recently came out for buy or rent. So if you haven't seen the film yet, I haven't. I do want to catch up with it before the Oscars, though, and before our superlative show, because who knows? Maybe there's a hairy chest shot or something that might make it into the category. I don't know.
I
Don't
I
spoil
can
me if there's
I won't
not.
spoil
Let me
that. I
dream.
will. One thing that is kind of speaks to how much this movie has impacted both Jim and I is I think we're both reading the book right that it's based off of right now at the same time.
Ah,
So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Well, Jim, if you're banking time, why don't you use some non-bankers hours for your number 4?
Well, my number 4 is a film that we talked about already. It was it was earlier on Will's list, and it's Weapons. It's the horror thriller film that kind of came out of nowhere this year from Zach Cregger, starring Josh Brolin and Julia Garner. It's about basically all but one kid disappears from his classroom on the same day or the same night. The community, the teacher, everybody's wondering what the fuck is going on. It's super creepy. It's got an amazing performance by Amy Madigan in this movie. I won't say too much more to spoil it. Look, if horror is kind of weird with me. Like the regular slash and dash movies, they're fine. They don't always get me too excited. I like when a horror movie can give me a different twist on something, and this one does. And it kind of creeps me out in the same way that like Longlegs creeped me out last year. That also made my list. It's kind of in that same family of horror movies. That's very unsettling. Not a slasher per se. I mean, there is some violence and there is some gore, but wow, Weapons was amazing this year, and there's no way I could have kept it off my list.
All right, Jim, super strong pick. I enjoyed Weapons a lot. It unfortunately just didn't quite make my top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it'll show up as a honorable mention or not, whatever. Even if it doesn't, I'll just say it out loud. It was really good. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. But it was great. And liking Josh Brolin in a role, that hasn't happened in a long time for me, but I liked him in this. It was good.
yeah, go back to last episode. You'll hear my thoughts on Weapons there.
There you go. Oh, guys, Jordan switched over to YouTube so that he and Sam can chat. That's adorable. I love it so much.
Bringing people together.
Mick Jones is in the chat.
Mick!
Oh my
Hey,
God.
Mick.
Love you, Mick. So good to see
Great to
you.
see you up, Mick.
So
Aw.
the whole band is back together.
I know. We got to see Mick a few months ago. He and Akbar had some folks over and we got to hang out and made some new friends there. And it was great to see y'all, Mick. We miss you. We'll be back in Palm Springs in May. Hope we can see y'all again there if you're around. But anyway, Mick says Weapons was such a great slow build. And that's not something we super called out. So Mick, thanks for saying that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It not only is a slow build, but it does this cool like scaffolding build thing that it does as it goes through, and then it all pays off at the end. It's great. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely slow build. And in that slow build, the slowness is where I like feel the tension, right? You don't get the release of the tension till something big happens, right? Later in the film. Maybe.
Yeah.
But like that, the way the director and the writer build the tension in those quote unquote quiet parts or slow parts can make or break a film like this.
Super true. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my number 4 is a follow-up film to a 2024 film starring Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. That is Wicked for Good. Listen, I'm just going to say it. As a big fan of the musical, seen it a ton of times. The second act is nowhere near as good as the first act in the play. So everyone who's like, oh my God, the second movie isn't as good as the first one. Yes, that's true because source material. They did add a couple of new songs, though. They expanded the story in some interesting ways. I liked the attempt I don't think it all worked, but there is a new song, Girl in the Bubble, that is on heavy repeat for me, that I love and adore so much. So I really appreciate Wicked for Good giving us an opportunity to get a new song from the original composer and lyricist that I love so much. So that adds to the Wicked pantheon. I think Ariana and Cynthia's performances were incredible. I could gush a lot about this movie, but we have so much to talk about. So let me just say I think the biggest impact out of this film for me was the titular song For Good. One of the things that I'm always sad about when I see the play is even if you're sitting in the front row, you're still not close enough to see the faces of the performers as well as you can as a close-up shot in a movie. And so seeing Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo like singing this song and being able to see like subtle facial expressions, and because like the audio is so great, like you can hear little hitches in their voice, and is probably the best performance of that song out of like all of the Wicked, experiences that I've had. So this, left a handprint on my heart, and I really appreciate it so much. That's my number 4.
Yeah, great pick. Well, Brad, like the Wicked phenomenon was so big, right? Especially when that, when the musical was out, like years and years ago, when the musical came out, it was a huge deal. The book first, then of course the musical, and then these movies. And the first one was fantastic. Two great performances by the leads in there, and then to see them like bring it across the goal line with the second one, even as you said, Brad, maybe not quite as strong thematically and narratively as the setup in the first act, but still great, still some great music. Yeah, it's a great pick.
Yeah, really solid set pieces. Not just For Good, although that was my favorite, but there are several really solid set pieces. Elphaba's sex shawl is one of the best things to come out of this last year. And then and I think you mentioned this, there's something about seeing something translated from stage to screen where you can, when you're watching like something on Broadway or something theatrically, it's sort of a similar experience to reading a book. There's obviously descriptions, there's obviously set decorations, there's things that are like vibrant, but your imagination has to fill out the world around those things, right? And in a film, you get a little bit less of that because you get to see a little bit more. That thing gets filled out by the filmmakers, by the production staff, all of that. So it was really fun just seeing that world just sort of grow bigger than just the city and the school, which is mostly what we got in the first one. Now we got the world beyond that, and I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. All right. Well, I was gonna read Jordan's question, but why don't we save it for after our listener list, and we'll use that as a transition. Jim, you have our next top 10 listener list. What do we got?
We have our listener Hamstrack, a friend of the show. He's more often than not like jumping into the show and commenting and giving us movie ideas. He's got a top 10 list, and I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to talk about it. So starting with number 10 is Anniversary is the name of the movie. Then number 9, Sovereign. Number 8, The Long Walk. Number 7, Good Boy, South by Southwest film. Number 6 is Reverence. Number 5, Sinners. Number 4, 40 Acres. Number 3, Tales from the Woods. Number 2 is Straw. And number 1 is Baltimoreans. And by the way, his comment on his list is they're not in any real particular order. I did read them off in order from 10 to 1, but he says they could be in any order except for his number 1, which is Baltimoreans at the top. That's another South by Southwest film that I got to see. So here's the thing. I love Hammy's list because there's only 4 films on this list that I actually saw this year. So like that means there's 6 films there that I get to go research and find out and maybe add to my watch list that I actually have never even heard of before. I never even heard of some of these titles before. So awesome list, Hammy. Thanks for giving us that and giving us some more material to go look into.
Yeah, always great hearing from Hammy. And of course, check him out over on the Cinematics podcast as well, if you want to hear some more of his talks and even see some of his long form writing.
Awesome.
Great list, Hammy. Thanks so much for sharing with us. All right, so Jordan Riley says, okay, before you guys go any further, what was your biggest disappointment for a movie or even TV show? Now, normally this episode is all about celebration. Guys, what do you think? Do we want to do a quick like disappointment? Are we okay with that?
Yeah, why not?
Throw off the vibe.
Look it, we're doing it live. You know?
All right. Then in what case, Will, what was your biggest disappointment for a movie or TV show in 2025?
Yeah, and I'm just pulling my letterbox just to make sure that I'm keeping myself honest on this. So what I'm going to say is not the thing that I disliked the most, because that was the Minecraft movie, but I wasn't really going into that expecting much. But when it comes to disappointment, I like to think of something that I could have been excited for and was excited for, and then it failed to meet those standards. And for me, it was Fear Street Prom Queen. Fear Street had sort of 3 movies that came out as sort of like a 1, 2, 3 series on Netflix, and they were really good. I really enjoyed the Fear Street shows. And so then they came out with a 4th one a little bit after called Prom Queen, and it was just a tedious slog. So really tanked any enjoyment or excitement I may have about any future Fear Street projects, if there are any, because it kind of got, it did not do very well. So yeah, that's my most disappointed.
All right, Jim, how about you real quick? What was your biggest disappointment for a movie or even TV?
Oh my God. Wow. I'm going to have to, geez, I don't even know. I'm actually looking through my letterbox right now. Cause see, I mean, I don't like to dwell on like
I know
the worst movies.
How
of the
about
year.
how about this? I'll share mine, and you can tell me if you
Yeah.
share the one I'm sharing. How about that?
Okay. Yeah.
I was really looking forward to Snow White, the live action version, because the original holds such a special place in my heart. And oh my God, was it a steaming pile of awfulness. Jim, as I recall, we both walked out of that movie just shaking our heads like, what did we just actually watch? So I don't want to dunk on it too hard, but it wasn't super great for me.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I have the Minecraft movie very low, but I also have Megan 2.0 really low. Megan 2.0. I mean, Megan, I liked the first movie quite a bit, and I just felt, I don't know, I don't know if they pressed the accelerator too hard and lost traction and spun out, or they just didn't have the right ideas, but it didn't do anything for me. It felt, you know how when a movie comes out and you like it and there's certain things about it, and then the next time the next movie comes out, they take those things that people like and they turn those things up so much that it becomes almost a parody of itself. That was Megan 2.0 for me.
Have you heard of the concept of Flanderization?
No, not in those terms.
It's
no.
basically
we don't need to get super deep on this, but
it's the Flanderization. Basically, it's like the Ned Flanders character from the Simpsons, where season 1 he was a nuanced character, and every time he appeared after, he became more and more of a caricature of himself. And so that's usually called a phrase that's used for exactly that, where they take a couple of key elements and those things become more and more pronounced to the fact that to the point that it ruins the original quality.
It was Megan Flanders then. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I really loved Megan 2.0, and lots of other people did too. So divisive pick. Hey, real quick, and then honest to God, guys, we got to get to the rest of these lists, or we'll never be done. Mick Jones says, "Wake Up Dead Man" was a real disappointment for him.
Ooh.
Mick, thanks for sharing that one. Divisive topic. I'm not even going to open the floor to conversation on that because it will be 20 minutes. But Mick, thanks for calling out that one for you. Happy to share it. Okay, let's get into our top 3 of 2025. Will, what was your number 3?
My number 3, plugged this one fairly recently. It's a Park Chan-wook, filmmaker who I absolutely enjoy. He's most known for Old Boy, the good one, not the Spike Lee Josh Allen one. That was a steaming pile of shit. So this movie is called No Other Choice, and it stars the actor is Lee Byung-hoo, who played he was one of the kind of the villain characters in Squid Game. That's where you might recognize him. And he is this guy who's been working in the paper industry for years, but over time things have happened, layoffs have happened, the work model has changed quite a bit, and so now he finds himself without a job. And now, how is he going to be able to pay for his kids' violin lessons? How is he going to be able to pay for this nice house and this life that he has with his family? Well, he realizes that if he wants to get a job in a very limited job market, his option is going to have to be to eliminate the competition. And so he starts planning some over-the-top kills of some of the other people gunning for that same job. It's definitely a movie that is about what it's like to live in sort of a capitalist society where our jobs are becoming more and more streamlined and more outsourced to technology, making us have to compete more and more for the few resources that we've got. And it's also funny when it needs to be. It's poignant when it needs to be. It's creative in kind of the way that it showcases what it showcases. It's just, I mean, Park Chan-wook's one of those guys who I think, similar to what we talked about with Paul Thomas Anderson, this guy makes like just solid movies forward, back. This is film. So No Other Choice is my number 3 for the year. It is very, very, very good.
Great film. Well, I think it ended up on my honorable mentions list. I did catch up with that one kind of later in the year, but always great to see what's coming from Park Chan-wook.
All right, excellent. Thanks, Will. Jim, what is your number 3 film of 2025?
My number 3 film is a documentary on HBO Max called My Mom Jane. This is a film by Mariska Hargitay about her very famous mother, who I didn't know was her mother, Jane Mansfield, the life and legacy of Jane Mansfield, Hollywood icon, actress back in the 50s, 60s, who died very young at the age 34 when Mariska was only 3 years old. So it's a look at the life and legacy. The family skeletons are unearthed in this one. It's a great documentary. My Mom Jane, if you're interested in like Hollywood history, there's some of that in here. Go catch it now. It's on HBO Max.
I think we might have plugged this one on the same episode. I seem to remember us talking about My Mom Jane and No Other Choice back to back on a plugs pretty recently. Yeah. So that's pretty fun.
Yeah. They both ended up at number 3.
That's so funny.
What do you got for number 3, babe?
Number 3 film for me is another film I was not expecting to like. But I ended up seeing this film 3 times. 3 times in theaters. Almost as many times as the film that it reminds me of, just in a different thematic format. This film was F1, starring Brad Pitt and Damson Idris. Apple movie all about the world of F1 racing, and in particular, just, action, kinetic, but like also really good performances, especially from Brad Pitt, who I don't normally expect great things from. It's not that he's a bad actor. I don't know. He's never really excited me much in things. But man, he was great here. And the film I saw in theaters 4 times was Top Gun Maverick. And this felt like Top Gun in race cars. So it was a really exciting one for me. Seeing it in D-Box with like the motion seats was especially fun. But that is my number 3.
Yeah, like I had said earlier in the part 1, when this one appeared earlier in my my top 10. This movie seemed to be made for like a D-box kind of experience, and I'm glad we got to see it that way.
And a lot of the same people that worked both behind the camera and in front of the camera on Top Gun Maverick came back to work on F1. So it makes sense that those two would have that crossover for you, because it scratches that same itch, just, wheels versus sky.
Yep. Good old Bruckheimer Productions. All right. We have another listener list. What?
Can we take a quick pause? Sorry to do this, but I'm getting really staticky audio on my end. And
okay.
Maybe it's just my end. So I'm just going to, if you take like a 10-second break, I'm going to drop off the restream and come back in.
Sure. Sounds good. Right. Hopefully that's not a death knell where he drops out and just never returns at all.
And Jim's number 2 pick was, I don't know. Actually, he's not here to say it. So it's Megan 2.0, and his number 1 was Minecraft. And if Jim disagrees, he can say something right now. No? All right.
Yeah. Well, guess they're locked in. Filling the dead air. Oh, he's back. There we go. Cool.
I'm back.
Is that any better?
It sounds better right now. So let's continue.
Good. All right. So we have one more listener list to share. I'll go ahead and read that one out now. This, of course, is from a longtime friend of the show, Bruce. He's got movies listed here in no particular order, so I'll just read them through. Lemonade Blessing, So Torn, Checkpoint Zoo, Solomon's Story, Sorry Baby, The Ugly Stepsister, Tatami, Rats, and Sister Midnights. I don't think I've seen a single film on that list. Maybe I'll have. What do you think?
So I've got a couple that I've seen, Sorry Baby is honorable mentions, Ugly Stepsister probably as well. He did mention to me as he was getting this list together that while there may be some other films that are on his top 10 as well, that this list was really capturing some hidden gems as well. So that's part of why kind of these might be a little off the beaten trail. But Ugly Stepsister is on Shudder, and it is the goods. There's a reason it's nominated for Oscar for I think makeup and hairstyling. It's which horror movies tend to not get, but this is a good looking film in addition to a good film period.
Yeah, and there's one on here that I did see recently, Sorry Baby, which is a really good film, really emotional film. I don't want to say what it's about because I think that's kind of discovering that as the film unfolds is probably probably one of the strongest points of the movie. So Sorry Baby is good. I know that I saw that on streaming, and I think it's on Netflix.
All right. Excellent. Well, thank you again for sharing that list. All right. We're going into our last 2 films in our lists. Let's briefly set those up for folks and say why they made our lists. Will, what was your number 2?
My number 2, I think you had talked about last week's episode. It is Ryan Coogler's Sinners, starring Michael B. Jordan, Hailey Steinfeld, Jack O'Connell, and I think the was it Delroy Lindo, just a ton of great people. This movie is all about vampires and these twin brothers trying to set up their life at this jazz joint that they're setting up as the vampires are trying to work their way in. The thing that works best for me is this is a celebration of music, of culture, of the impact of these things, legacy, and through kind of 2 standpoints, kind of 1920s-ish, kind of like Southern Black culture, as well as there's an element of sort of like similar time period and before kind of Irish culture, which is explored to a lesser degree, but is also there. But again, on top of that, this is Ryan Coogler knows how to tell a fucking story. We've seen it with Black Panther. We've seen it with Creed. This is a guy who knows how to put story to film. And this was my number one with a bullet up until September. There was nothing that was going to dethrone this, and then something came along and knocked it off at the last minute. But Sinners is so fucking good, and is probably one of the films that I'm going to remember for the longest of all of the films on the list.
All right, excellent.
Sinners is the goods. It's almost like multiple films in one, which is awesome.
Definitely. All right, Jim, what was your number 2?
My number 2 pick is, we talked about this one already. It's the Paul Thomas Anderson film, One Battle After Another. Big movie because it's got big names. And it's a big movie also because it's big. It's got a lot of filmmaking in it. Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, and like I mentioned before, I think one of my favorite male performance of the year in Sean Penn in this. I'm not sure what else more there is to say, so I'll just bank some time and say One Battle After Another is my number 2.
All right, excellent. I've been seeing this pop up on so many lists. I haven't seen it yet, but definitely seems like I need to with such strong votes from y'all for sure. I know this is for the last one, but we had another comment come in from Samuel who says Sinner's music scene was pure art. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Samuel,
really need to call that specific scene out.
Probably
So
one of the best scenes of film last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way it put together the different styles, based off of the blues, Delta blues stuff, and then progressing into other styles. It was really cool.
For sure. Also, Jimmy says, hi. Hello. Glad to see you. Welcome. All right. My number 2 film of 2025 was Black Phone 2, starring Mason Thames and Ethan Hawke. Of course, I think it was originally called Black Phone, and then it was renamed The Black Phone to go with The Black Phone 2, or do I have that reversed? I don't remember. Either way, it's the movie about a black phone with a number 2 by it. Jim, you were talking earlier about like Megan and how it like amped up all the not great things to make a super great overall, super not great thing. I think this movie did the reverse. I think it took all the things about the first one that I really loved, amped those up a few degrees, not to 11, not to 14, maybe like 7 or 8. But it really, I think, just sometimes those sequels, it can be so hard, but I almost feel like I liked Black Phone 2 better than the first one. We get to see, the characters from the first film, a little bit older, new situation. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but this movie is, for me, like a mashup of like Disney's Frozen and a slasher movie, and I didn't think that would ever be a thing, but like it was, and I fucking loved it. So Black Phone 2 was my number 2.
This is one that we saw at I think, Jim, you might have seen it with me there too, but at Fantastic Fest, this was part of that festival cycle when
I did not see it there.
But it's solid. I mean, it's a very solid pick. And Brad, to your point of like, I may have liked this one better than the first one. I did like this one better than the first one. So I think that's not an unfair thing to say. I think that the performances were stronger, the performances were tighter, and I think kind of what they were doing with the script. The first one was an adaptation of the short story, and so it was a little bit limited by that. And this one gets to kind of do its own thing, and so I think C. Robert Cargill's like writing really gets to expand and go in some new interesting directions here, which make me want to turn this into a 3, 4, 5 film franchise if it keeps expanding the way that it does. So yeah, I'm down with this pick, Brad. Good choice.
Awesome. What were we going to say, Dave?
I love the heavy Friday the 13th vibes in this movie.
Indeed. And also Nightmare on Elm Street too.
Sure.
Samuel called it out in the chat, and I wasn't sure if that was a spoiler or not to call out which slasher films, but yeah, there's a couple
all of them
there that I think harkens back to, and it's really, really great. Also, we got this comment. It came in as we were switching rounds from Matlin Boy, but gave a call out for Tiana Taylor as well. The performance.
Absolutely.
And
yes,
I just wanted to check in with y'all. Is that a co-signed on Tiana's performance?
There's a reason that there's a very good reason why she is also kind of a front runner for supporting Oscar right now for that.
Yes.
She does a damn good job. She doesn't have a ton of screen time in that film, but what she does, I mean, she just eats it up and leaves no crumbs.
Yep. Great to see a person you just, you don't see a lot of, and then she has her moment in this film and it's great.
So you're saying her performance was not crummy?
No.
It left no crumbs.
No crumbs.
Right.
She licked them all up.
All right, here we are. We have arrived at
Number
the
one.
main event, our number one films of 2025. We're going to, of course, enjoy revealing these. But y'all, do you want to do honorable mentions first?
I think we do our honorable mentions. Let's
do
edge the
first?
audience a little bit.
Maybe get them to goon a little, right? Like,
yeah, that's what we're doing.
All right, so we'll kick us off here, and of course, these lists are really brief. We're not really reviewing any of these, just listing them out. But Will, what were your honorable mentions?
Yeah, so The Plague and Begonia were so close to making this list. K-pop Demon Hunters is just absolute joy on screen. I had so much fun with that. Little Amelie wasn't on my radar until it got nominated for Best Animated at the Oscars, and I went and watched it and was like, holy shit, this could have made my list. And then I'm so sorry to say this, Mick, but Wake Up Dead Man, the Knives Out movie, was also in my honorable mentions. And last one, Voice of Hind Rajab, broke my heart.
Aw. All right, Will, thanks for sharing your honorable mentions. Jim, what were yours?
Mine are a mix of movies that we've already talked about and some ones we haven't, of course. 4 documentaries, but there are a bunch of films. So, Good Boy, The Black Phone 2, The Secret of Me, The Python Hunt, South by Southwest film, Pangolin Kulu's Journey, Eternity, Begonia, 25 Cats from Qatar, The Plague, and Surat. Those are my honorable mentions.
Also, very good list. Okay. And for me, we have Weapons. As I mentioned, Jim didn't quite make my list, but definitely were in my honorable mentions. I've also got Song Sung Blue, which we saw right at the end of the year. Really great film. Y'all can laugh at me. I don't care. We saw this in 3D. It blew my mind. Tron Ares. I really, really, really enjoyed that film a lot, especially that banging score, amazing 3D, even better than the Avatar movies, if 3D is your thing. I've watched on my Vision Pro a couple times just to like relive the amazing 3D. It's so good. Another Simple Favor, which we saw at South by, and then I don't know if this one counts, but we saw it in the movie theater, so I'm going to include it. Taylor Swift, the official release party of Life of a Showgirl. So
it's your list. Yeah. Fuck it, count it.
I know, right? Like we saw it in a movie theater. It was really cool to experience the new album in a movie theater with a bunch of other Taylor Swift fans. I didn't clock like that being a thing I would see in movie theaters, but it was a cool experience. So okay.
Cool.
Honorable mentions, completes, number ones. Here we go. William Lindis, what was your number one film of 2025?
Yeah, like I said, my number one film hit me in September, and as soon as it did, it immediately dethroned Sinners. It's the film that I hope gets the foreign language Oscar, and it's Surat. Surat is a film about there's this father and their son, and they have a daughter who is, like she's out of high school. She's like a young adult at this point, but she's gotten involved in like kind of like rave culture. And so she's going to these desert raves, and she just hasn't responded back. She hasn't called back. They haven't heard from her. So he goes kind of from rave to rave looking for her. And along the way, he gets into this sort of like with this group of like these ravers who are like, hey, she's not here. I don't know who she is, but there's this other one that's sort of like deeper in the desert that we could go take you to. And so they all get together, they go off and do it. And then a bunch of tense things happen. And I'm not going to share what those things are because this movie is best left sort of as far as kind of what films it reminds you of or kind of what happens. It's just best to go in blind. But from a, we have to, to talk, I have to talk about it. So I have to be able to talk about something. What I will say is this is a movie that is very, very good at tension. Just building sort of that like tight wire of tension to where it feels just like at any moment, like if you breathe incorrectly, just like, you're going to fall out of your chair, or, the ceiling's going to collapse on you. You're just like that. You're going to start out of whatever, because that tension is so tautly pulled. It's also one of the best sound mixed movies that I've seen of this last year. It's the audio, not just the rave scenes, but even kind of the scenes of quiet, all feel incredibly purposeful and done with sort of meticulous care. It looks good. It's performed well. The characters are different than I was than anything I've seen before. They all become very relatable and very enjoyable in their own ways. Surat just really blew me away in terms of what a movie can be and should be. And I would strongly urge anyone to give this one a shot. I think it's starting its cycle through kind of theaters now as well, because it has foreign language films have a longer rollout. So Sirat, Sirat, is just, it's otherworldly.
Indeed. Great one, Will. Great pick. It made my honorable mentions. It was really high on my list until towards the end of the year. And at South by, when I got out of this film, I was like, wow, that felt like an experience. I feel like I've been through something. I was still gut punched, at the end. Like I sat in my seat at the end, like, holy fuck. Like that was something. Weird. Just crazy.
All right. The first of 3 number ones are done. Let's get to our second one. Jim, what was your number 1 film of 2025?
My number 1 was a film that I did see late called Hamnet, which we did talk about. It was Will's number 4. I've seen it twice now in theaters. Oddly enough, the second time it affected me more. Will talked about crying in it. Yes, there was crying involved when I saw it. But yeah, it's interesting because this film, unfortunately, Hamlet, is this just like a bunch of people like spouting Shakespeare lines at each other? No, it's about Shakespeare, but it's not a Shakespeare play. And it does feature William Shakespeare, but it focuses more on his family, specifically his wife, which Jessie Buckley will win the Best Acting Female category award for this year. Put your money on it. Yeah, I really love this film. It's quiet. It's cathartic at the end, like no other film, certainly this year and maybe in many years that I've seen. Yeah, I loved it. And of course, Paul Mescal is on such a fucking hot streak right now. It was All of Us Strangers last year, right? I think was my number 1 pick. And now it's this one. But to believe it or not, the film, this isn't a film that he carries. This is a film that Jessie Buckley carries. But he's still great. He's great in everything. So, yep, Hamnet, see it. Don't let the Shakespeare stuff scare you away, please. It's a great film.
All right. And it's not about a net made of ham, right?
It's
not about a net made of ham. No, it's not.
Okay, because the name's literally on the tin. So how do you know what you're getting?
It's a tin of ham. Yeah.
Yeah. This one is appearing on a ton of lists as well. And right now I was just reading it's coming to Peacock, so it'll be on streaming, but I think that's probably a month or 2 away.
Sweet.
But it is out for purchase or rent right now, and maybe I'll just buy it, even if I watch it and for whatever reason I don't like it. You like it, babe, so it can be part of our library.
Whatever.
But
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'll enjoy it as well. I think you saw this. You said twice already in theaters, so for you to watch a movie twice, especially in theaters, is really telling.
Yeah.
That so rarely happens. So I've got to catch up with this one too. All right. Well, I guess
What's
it's
yours?
my turn.
Number one.
My
We're all
number one
waiting.
film of 2025 is a film that I was really afraid was going to be absolutely terrible, especially after some just past trauma from other versions of films and TV involving this character. But James Gunn was behind it, and I should have trusted James Gunn more early on. But his version of Superman absolutely blew me away. Christopher Reeve, of course, is always going to be my Superman. That's the one, like growing up, that I saw probably a million times, holds a really special place in my heart. No other actor has come so close to nailing Superman than David Corn Sweat after Christopher Reeve in my book. His version of the character is a little goofy and dorky, even as Superman, which I think is kind of fun. It's kind of amazing. But just the cast in this film was great. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane was phenomenal. She was so good. And you've really got to have a really strong Lois, I think. I like Amy Adams a lot. I didn't like her that much as Lois in the Snyder films. I didn't like the Snyder films that much. But
Yeah.
Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, holy fucking shit balls. He was a phenomenal Lex. Nathan Fillion is always fun. He was in this as Green Lantern. Alan Tudyk was one of the Superman robots. There's just such a phenomenal cast. The story was really great. The effects were amazing. And even though I really don't like the Kingdom Come version of the Superman emblem, this movie made me fall in love with it to the point that I now wear a signet pinky ring with that symbol. It has replaced the OG logo for me. Really, really fantastic film. I saw it in theaters 5 times. And then I've probably watched it on streaming 4 or 5 times since then. So I guess I'm a little obsessed because it only came out in like July or whatever of 2025. I can't remember a film I've seen that many times. So yeah, this one was really huge for me. I loved it.
Even if you add up like Top Gun Maverick and F1 together, I don't think they I don't think they equal how many times you've seen this.
Yeah,
but that's
yeah,
awesome. That's why we love movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. And I think the thing that this film does so well is like it gets its heart in absolutely the right place, right? I think that it had a heavy lift to do after the Snyder films, whether you like or dislike them. I didn't like them, but whether you like them or dislike them, there was a tonal shift that was going to be needed to sort of get out of sort of that direction that it was going. And with all of that baggage, it was going to be very, very hard for them to make a film that could just be what it is without having to also be a statement about what came before it, right? And I think what this film does so good is it's just a good vibe, right? Like the cast is all there. It seems to be really enjoying what they're doing and why they're doing it. James Gunn is there doing what he's doing and enjoying what he's doing. There are a couple of places, there are a couple of places when I watch it where I'm like, okay, maybe the script wasn't as tight here or there as it could be, but none of that super fucking matters because what it did was it pulled all of those things together with heart, with compassion, with energy, with a look to the future. And what this did for me more than anything is it sort of wiped the slate clean, right? Like this is now the direction of these. And we've even seen it in Peacemaker. A couple of these characters have shown up in there in season 2, and it sort of like pulled some things together also and was kind of fun. So yeah, I think this is a great pick, Brad. This one was when I did my top 25, longer list than this, but it did end up in my top 25 because of all of those reasons. This movie lives and breathes on its heart.
Wow. I mean, I think of it, I'm trying to think of an analogy, like all the Superman films we've had and related films, right? We have the original Christopher Reeve, like that was kind of the gold standard, and the road of Superman movies was clear when that was laid down. And then the sequels came out, and the road got kind of bumpy and, littered with, trash and boulders and snow. And then everything else came, and Man of Steel, it muddied the waters a little bit more. And then this film had a lot to do because it had to clear that. It had to navigate around that crap, right? That some of the crap that came before. I'm not saying everything was crap before it, but like there was some crappy stuff that was kind of in the way. And this movie had to kind of lay a new road for Superman. And I think it mostly did just that. And certainly for you, babe, it sounded like it did.
Yeah. Plus, it had to do crypto really well.
Oh my God.
We've never had crypto,
No.
in a Superman movie before.
So
it's
good.
like, you're bringing in fucking Crypto the Superdog. What's that going to be like? But yeah, they did that so well. Plus, this idea that like kindness is the new punk rock, like that just resonates so much.
Yep.
I already have like one saying in Kryptonian. I can't really bend my arm well enough to see it on camera, but I think I might get that phrase like to match on my other arm, possibly. I think that's such a strong message. I have, that's for sure. All right, Samuel in the chat says, quick fire question for you. What's y'all's rating for Predator Badlands? I really enjoyed Predator Badlands. The Elle Fanning silly stuff got a little bit much for me sometimes, but I think it's probably one of my favorite Predator films. I enjoyed it a lot.
So right now the stuff Dan Trachtenberg is doing is honestly fucking magic. I had both Predator Badlands and Predator Killer of Killers, the animated one, which both came out this last year, when I was dumping all the films that I was going to try to figure out what made my list onto the table. Both of those were on the table as contenders. And it actually was throwing me into a bit of an existential crisis. Like, is there a world where I have both of these films like right next to each other? Or which one did I like better? Which one did I like worse? And then Prey from a few years ago, which is the other one by Trachtenberg, was just solid. So yeah, I'm 100% down with, with anything Trachtenberg does from now on in the Predator series. It's so good.
Yeah, I thought it was super solid. Look, I'm not very steeped in the whole Predator thing. I mean, when it came out, it was like a thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is kind of horror movie with Arnold and, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of cool, but it never kind of became a touchstone for me, like in my youth or my young adulthood. So, I don't have that like nostalgia angle, but I think it was a solid film. I think it was a good try, a good spin on Predator after everything I've seen before it. I thought it was really solid, really good. I was trying to look up my, who asked that question, by the way? Who
was Samuel in the chat.
Samuel, check out my, friend me on Letterboxd. You'll see what I rated it. I don't even know how to look up what I rated it, to be honest with you.
It exists.
Will
in your
tell
diary.
you.
I'll look it up, but I think by the time I pull it up, we'll have moved on. But I'm looking for my own sake.
Let's do this. Go ahead, Will. Feel free to look it up. We're gonna go back real quick. We had another comment from Matlin Boy who says, "I loved Crypto, but to be fair, it could have been a dog sitting in one spot for 20 minutes, and I would have been thrilled." LOL. Maybe so, but yes, agree. So much.
I thought we got the perfect amount of Crypto in that movie. I don't think they overdid it. So here's an example of what I was talking about earlier. If they come back Are they making a crypto movie? Like, are they going to make like an all crypto
There's
all the time movie now, or what?
There's a Supergirl movie coming, and I think crypto may be
That looks good. Yeah.
part of that. At least a
I
little.
can, I can tell you that for my own sake, I'm exactly in the same position. You know, I have a few dogs. I
Yes.
work in the veterinary industry, not as a vet, but I work with veterinarians. That's what I do for a living. Dogs are like one of like my touchstones, and so crypto, between that and the comic books that have been really good, I already knew I was going to be kind of in love with crypto as a character, and then holy shit, just being able to see him on screen. Yeah, I could have just sat there and watched him all day every day and been happy.
I just need some Streaky the Super Cat at this point. Could we make that a thing? Maybe in Superman 2. That would be great.
So I do have all of our scores for Predator Badlands.
Do it. Lay it on the line.
Out of 5 stars, Jim gave it 2.5.
That's solid. Remember how I rate movies. 2.5 is a halfway point between 0 stars and 5 stars. And I think it's a very solid movie, competent. That's how I rated it. That's a 2. So 2.5, it's not bad. It's not great. It's a solid film.
Brad gave it 3.
Okay.
And I gave it 4. That's sort of, so we all kind of landed in that range there.
Nice.
There you go. By the way, Samuel also agreed that Killer of Killers was amazing. I haven't caught up to that one yet, but it's on my list. I need to. So thank you for the reminder on that, y'all. Oh my gosh. It's been a full show. We have talked about so much. I also know sometimes we like to sprinkle in a couple like other media things that we really loved. No worries if you don't have anything, but does anybody have any like, I don't know, TV, music, games, books, whatever that you want to call out from 2025 you loved?
I can go quick on that. Just go to that sheet because I had them preloaded, so I could go quick. All right. So in terms of television shows, didn't watch as much as I would have liked to last year, but Welcome to Derry really tripped my trigger. From a video game perspective, I played a lot of Expedition 33, which I think everyone did, and Pokemon ZA, which came out towards the end of the year, sucked up. At this point, I'm now 100 hours into that one, so lots there. From a album perspective, there were 3 albums that really did it for me: Rosalia's Lux, Lily Allen's West End Girl, and Clipping's Dead Channel Sky Plus were all like just top tier.
All right, thanks, Will. Jim, do you have anything that you want to call out?
I can't. Yeah, I don't know the exact years, but I can tell you the ones that stick out in my mind are a show called Paradise on Hulu. Sterling K. Brown is in that. Fantastic. I liked Silo quite a bit that we watch, and believe it or not, I'm liking a show called Landman. I didn't expect to love it as much as I do, but I think what's got me is, look, say what you want about Taylor Sheridan and like his films and like Yellowstone. We loved for a season and a half. It was great. And then it kind of fell off, out of favor for us. But the dude has written some amazing dialogue for Billy Bob Thornton in that show. To me, it's worth watching it just for that and the interaction between Billy Bob and his ex-wife. Fantastic.
No, Jim, there was no way in any world that I could ever think of that you weren't going to enjoy Landman. I've only watched a little bit of it while Scott's watching it, so I'll kind of walk in. But every time I walk in there, someone's got a cigarette in their mouth. And as Brad is big to bring up on this show, Jim's favorite thing are French movies. This isn't French, but with people smoking cigarettes. So
smoking does add atmosphere as long as I don't have to smell it.
Right? Well, thank you for sharing your list, babe. A few things for me. Welcome to Derry. Enjoyed that quite a bit. Pluribus was a phenomenal new show on Apple's TV offerings. Music wise, I mentioned Taylor Swift's new album, Life of a Showgirl. Really love that. It also started my exploration of Sabrina Carpenter and Chapel Roan, which I know I'm late to the game on, but I credit Taylor Swift for that. Gaming wise, though, I'm much more of a like game player than a movie watcher, believe it or not. I don't know why I'm not on a game podcast, but
Right.
Expedition 33, really just amazing game, especially for such a small team. Like, it was incredible. Also, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Mad props to a very like historically accurate game about like knights and political intrigue. Having an LGBTQ storyline that is as good as it is fucking awesome. And then Pokemon ZA, also really good too. Nice cozy game fun. So 2025 was a phenomenal year for movies, TV, etc., etc. 2026 is already off to a great start. We'll have to see how our lists shape up for 2026. But the fun doesn't stop there. The Oscars are coming up. We don't really do Oscar coverage, but we do our own superlative awards where we have made up some categories, including like hottest on-screen moment and best fuck yeah moment and things like that. So we'll be coming at you soon with our superlatives episode. Keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, let's let folks know how they can connect with us between now and next time we record. Babe, how can folks find and connect with you online?
I already mentioned I'm on Letterboxd, of course. I mean, I think we all are. My handle on there is at JJP Out West. JJP Out West, all one word. That's where you'll find all my lists, my movie ratings, and my occasional reviews. And you can find me on Facebook under my name, Jim Pugliafico.
All right. Thank you so much. Will, how about for you?
I'm really kind of using two key socials right now. Facebook for just, general keeping up, posting some politics, mostly just pictures of me and my dogs and a lot of like work stuff, which also ends up being a lot about dogs, like I mentioned. But you can just look for me, William Lindis, on Facebook. But for movie related stuff, check out Letterboxd. I'm at the Movie Bear on there. I've got a couple of things like I'm backlogged a couple of films I need to put in there, but it's where every film I watch goes eventually so that I don't have to carry it around in my brain anymore.
There you go. All right. Thanks, Will. Folks, you can find me on Facebook. Just look for Bradley Harris. And you can find me on Letterboxd as well at iBradPro. We had a bunch of people joining us for the episode this week. Thanks so much for being part of the discussion. Ooh, final comment in just under the wire. Matt Limboyce's Expedition 33 soundtrack was insane. I loved the Minoko theme.
Yes.
Fucking banger. I love it so much. Thanks for calling that out. And Matt Limboy, you need to look Will and I up and we should talk some more Expedition 33.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
And crypto,
of course.
Yeah.
The super dog, not the Bitcoin currency.
Yeah, not Bitcoin.
Just to be clear.
My idea is to pivot this podcast to a games and pets podcast primarily with a movie sideline.
I love that. That could be fun.
So it'd be we could call it the Movie, Games, and Dogs and Bears podcast with Brad, Jim, and Will, and our dogs.
Who have they been petting lately?
And our cats.
Yeah, the cats come in there too. Yeah,
they're huskies.
They're Hucky.
Coras.
They're Husky, Coras.
Yeah.
Lovable Kiras.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. We've lost the plot.
Love you all. Thank you so much. It was great hanging out with you. And Jim, Will, normally we would just stay on the bridge after we're done to talk, but I'll see y'all in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So bye everybody. Take care. And Jim, will see you in 5 seconds.
Definitely. Bye.
Bye.